Hello, welcome to episode number 31 of the Local Lowdown. My name is Zach Bischoff, and I, as always, am joined by...
Danny Shanholzer.
All right, thank you very much, Danny. After a tremendous Super Wildcard weekend on this, what is today? It is the 16th of January, 2024. Danny, give me your thoughts on this year's edition of NFL Super Wildcard Weekend.
Zach, dude, this Super Wild Card weekend was certainly one to remember, man.
I'm sure Steelers fan.
That's true. That's true. I mean, but zooming out, dude. I mean, Monday night coming on Tuesday. I mean, dude, we're only just now about 24 hours removed from the Steelers game, which is hard to believe. So this weekend had a little bit of about everything with just the rescheduling and close games and blowouts and dude, everything kind of.
A couple of them were on the weekend.
What's that, bud?
Couple of blowouts. But...
Yes, yeah. I mean, overall, it is awesome that NFL football is upon us. Obviously, it stinks. Steelers did not take care of business against the Buffalo Bills on Monday, but I am looking forward to seeing the rest of the playoffs play out because there's still some really, really good games to be played. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, just zooming in more on the Steelers here, with the Steelers losing to the Buffalo Bills by a score of 31-24 in a snowless Hallmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Couldn't say the same on Sunday when the game was originally supposed to be played. And why don't we have any data going in YouTube? Okay, no, we're good. Okay, yeah, but if that game would have been played on Sunday, that would have been quite interesting. It would have been a very, very, very boring game with no kicking, no passing. But now, with the game being moved to Monday, we have more passing. Mason Rudolph, 22 of 39 for 229 with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Josh Allen, 21 of 30 for 203 and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Danny, your thoughts on the Buffalo Bills game?
Yeah, Zach, for sure, man. No, I mean, as you said, Zach, what we kind of thought would be the Steelers' competitive advantage with the terrible, terrible weather on Monday or on Saturday or on Sunday.
Sunday, yes.
I apologize. Was not the case for the Steelers. We thought that maybe with the crazy, crazy Buffalo weather on Sunday that the Steelers would be able to, run the ball 40 times and sneak out of there with a 7-3 victory. That was not the case. Buffalo, the NFL, probably for good reason, and the New York governor both had different plans, which you can't, say what you will about it, but they ultimately had safety in mind when making that decision, Zach. But I really thought the difference, Zach, was the turnovers, man. I mean, we basically put ourselves in. It was 21-7 going into the halftime break, but that's basically just because of a blocked punt. And if that hadn't happened, we would have gotten shut out in the whole first half. So we really dug ourselves into a hole and just couldn't get back in it. I mean, you like we only gave up 10 points in the second half. And we scored 10. because it was
Yeah.
31-17. So I mean, the turnovers that created short fields for Buffalo with the interception by Rudolph and the fumble. I mean that really caused us um, we had that caused us difficulty, and we had to play the catch up game, early on.
hmm Yeah, I think that interception in the red zone by Rudolph there after I believe it was a pass interference penalty on the Bills, which I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, was ticky tack at that. But that actually I don't think, but that yeah, you had kind of had to have that there. That interception really was a stab in the gut to the Steelers.
Yeah.
Where was I going to go with that? I'll come back to it. All right. Moving on to the next one. We're going to talk about the Bucks and Eagles next, with the Bucks winning by a score of Danny.
I believe it was 32-9 advantage for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Zach, I mean, that was probably the one of the most shocking games of Wild Card Weekend, because you look and you're like, okay, the Eagles have not had a uh, great end to the regular season. Obviously, started out 9-1 and um, ended up losing their final um, five to six games.
Yeah, I was going to
Uh,
say either 6, 7, or 5, 6.
yeah, I mean finished 11-6. So I mean they really, with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, who really looked to be on historic pace for the Eagles, had a pretty big collapse. So I don't know. There was some talk of the Eagles being a little bit overhyped, a little bit overrated, but nothing to this extent. And it really was over for the Eagles before it even started. I mean, Tampa Bay got up to a 10 point advantage, and then the Eagles were shut out in all but the second and third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really stifled their progress. And Tampa Bay just kept putting up points, and Baker Mayfield. I mean, this guy has seized his opportunity. And say what you will about Baker Mayfield as a bust for the Browns, but the bottom line is this guy is a first round pick. And he's playing like it as of late for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
He's really been a guy that they can consistently rely on. The NFC South is not as good as um, other divisions such as the AFC North, but I mean, you just got to find a way to get in the dance, and then anything can happen. I mean, we saw that with Baker Mayfield had 337 passing yards and 3 touchdowns without an interception. I mean, that like if you talk about what you want your quarterback to do, that's exactly what you want to do. And they dominated in the first down department. 23 first downs compared to the Eagles' 13 first downs. So I mean they have a very, very uh, tough task um, in the divisional round. But
We'll talk
man,
about
I
that.
mean,
We're going to save
yeah,
that for another episode.
for sure. But
Um, sorry.
they really did a good job.
Yeah. Circling back to the Steelers for a moment. In the past 5 playoff games, in the first quarter, the Steelers have been outscored by a score of 66-0. Danny, I think that just shows that this is now a head coaching problem. We'll get to Mike Tomlin's press conference here in a second.
Yeah,
But I think that this now is, with an offensive coordinator out, I think this is now a head coaching problem, and I do think that there needs to be a change. But that's not the Steeler way. The Steeler way is promote from within and stick with the same guy, he'll figure it out.
Zach,
But
I did. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, in Tomlin's press conference after the game, he was asked a question by a reporter who supposedly do him and Tomlin, her and Tomlin, excuse me, do not have a good relationship. He was asked about his contract and how he has 1 year left in his contract, and then Tomlin abruptly left the podium. Danny,
Yeah.
do you give any are you speculating anything on that? Because I say
I in terms of I'm not speculating anything based on Tomlin's actions there, Zach. I think he's probably, as most head coaches are, was very frustrated by the loss and just didn't want to think about next year. All the players were talking about how it just really stings because as fans, we can talk about getting outscored 66-0 in the last five playoff games we played, which, as you mentioned, Zach, is
in the
atrocious.
first quarter.
That's atrocious. That's not how you want to start a game, and that's been slow starts have been a theme for the Steelers and always having to play catch up. And I mean that was the case on Monday here, was just that we couldn't catch up after digging ourselves in a hole.
Mm-hmm.
But here is the thing, Zach, that we got to kind of, I think, zoom out and to some extent appreciate. And I know that you are not going to want to hear this because I think your leash is shorter than mine in terms of Tomlin's your uh, approval of Tomlin is on a shorter leash than I am.
Correct.
But zooming zooming out, we got into the playoffs with a third string quarterback who went 3-0 when we had to win.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, and Zach, I know that Steelers fans like you and I want to have more playoff success.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the reason why Tomlin's going to stick around is because he gets the Steelers to the playoffs. And I think they look at that as a overall success. Now we have to win playoff games when we get to the playoffs, and we have not done that since 2017. So I mean that's closer. That's closer to uh, a 10-year deficit than it is to a 5-year deficit, which is tough to swallow. The fact that we haven't been back to the playoffs in now 7 seasons, or won a playoff game in 7 seasons. But I think Tomlin will stay, and I think that it's frustrating because I don't honestly know where we go from here. Because, like we said, Zach, we get to the playoffs, then we don't do anything in the playoffs.
We go up. You know, we're down here right now. The only possible direction we can go is up.
True.
Anyway, lastly, Dan here, moving on to the Cowboys, who Dak Prescott will be leading the team. Here we go to the golf course. after their 48-32 loss at home, their first loss of the 2023-24 season on at AT&T Stadium. Danny, your thoughts on the Packers' 48-32 win over the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, Zach, dude, how about the Packers, man? That's all I gotta.
To the golf course.
No, yeah, that's exactly what they did, Zach. And this honestly, I think seeing what the Packers did against the Cowboys, seeing the huge upset that they pulled and how easy it was for them, gave me too much hope for the Steelers game because I thought that we were going to have the same formula for winning. Go down, and I know first quarter has not been our strength all season, even with Matt Canada. I mean, we did. It took us like 6 or 7 games to score a first quarter touchdown. But I thought we were gonna, march down the field and pound the ball just like Aaron Jones did, and Rudolph was gonna make some easy throws and get receivers in space. But that did not happen for the Steelers, but it did happen for the Packers in a huge way. I mean, they were so incredibly well prepared. Their tight end was the only player within 20 yards when he caught that touchdown to kind of seal the deal for the Packers because of how great the fake was on the play action pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, dude, I am envious of the Packers right now because I wish we had a similar, you know, uh, upset, if you will, against the Bills in a dominant fashion. I mean, and Zach, I mean, you look at Matt LaFleur, right? Right, he's been kind of in the shadows of Aaron Rodgers since he got to Green Bay. This year, with Jordan Love and an overall really young team, he's kind of been able to put his true offensive footprint in the Packers system. And I mean, dude, you score 48 points, something is working, and the way that he was able to have a balanced um, a rushing and passing attack, you know, um, was just really awesome to see. And dude, I just like as somebody that really dislikes the Cowboys, just because I think the whole Jerry's World Stadium and their just overall aura is annoying as a general, you know.
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, I like Dak Prescott a lot. I don't like that he says that, just because it's funny for like the first five, and I enjoy it for the first five, and then it gets annoying. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I don't know if you can realistically bring back Mike McCarthy after that because again, it's like you had success in the regular season, but the Cowboys, like the Steelers, haven't had playoff success in a while. And Mike McCarthy isn't as tenured as Mike Tomlin, so that'll be interesting to watch. Jerry Jones said that he was speechless in his press conference. So I mean, that was probably the craziest game of wild card weekend, just in terms of the decisiveness of the outcome.
Getting your final thoughts on all things discussed on this 31st edition of the Local Lowdown podcast.
Yeah, Zach, dude, I wish that we were talking about a Steelers victory. The segment on the Steelers was briefer than I would have liked
Mm-hmm.
because you know, oh, we worked so hard to get here, and then
Got the
the
help that we
Bills.
needed.
No, exactly, Zach. Um, so it's going to make it a little tougher to enjoy the rest of the playoffs. But as we said, I mean, there's a ton of great football action still to be played. It's crazy, and this is why being good in the regular season does actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens and the 49ers haven't even played in the playoffs yet. So, I mean, I'm going to be super intrigued to watch those two teams play. And I'm definitely gonna start doing some maybe mock drafts and start looking at that, trying to pass time between now and next September when the Steelers get back underway for the 2024-2025 football season.
Yes. Yes, look for continuing coverage of the 23-24 NFL playoffs right here on the Local Lowdown podcast. We will be doing a preview of the divisional round towards the end of this week. Now, it's already, what is it, Tuesday? Yeah, so look for that maybe Thursday or Friday, maybe even Saturday. Stay tuned to our YouTube for coming live streams or wherever you happen to catch us, be that YouTube, be that any of our audio platforms. Yeah, we'll take you through this whole at 23-24 playoffs here, and then we will be doing some off-season content, including maybe even live mock drafts. And you just gave me that idea, so thank you.
That would be, dude. That'd be pretty fun, huh?
Be fun, yeah. We will look at that after the season and after the Super Bowl has come after the Super Bowl has ended. But then we have some spring football, which we may or may not bring onto the podcast, and we'll see. But for now, this has been the 31st edition of Local Lowdown podcast. Thank you to Mr. Danny Shanholzer for your continued support and dedication to this podcast and for making this episode possible. Until next time, he's Daniel. My name is Zach Bischoff, and we will see you next time right here on the Local Lowdown podcast.